Previously on Capital Color. What time is that event tonight?
As part of the wait staff, you need to be there at 6 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I start looking through those notes again, and I see those numbers, see those coordinates. Why would she have them?
But I saw some things that I can't rightly explain. But I know it's dangerous. And in exchange for the kindness that you've given me, sharing this information, in exchange, I want to warn you. Be careful about what's down there. So you watch the retreating form of Special Agent Ellison, and get back into your car and take
check over my shoulder.
You check the back seat. Make
Did
sure
that again. I'll do it a second time just to be safe.
There's spooks hiding out, and
exactly.
You are assured of that.
All right.
And you need to make a decision as to your destination.
Yeah. I was I'm thinking about my notes and thinking about the potential that Special Agent Ellison may be sick now. I'm wondering if maybe, this Lynette, she sounded like a clever girl. She had some smarts to her, enough so that she actually would, follow along with this Professor Adams. So if she needed to get medication, something to help her, from being sick, that sort of thing. I know she was feeling like she was being followed, but maybe she might have sought out some kind of medicine. So let me see if I can't. I'm gonna go visit Reverend Thompson over at his church and see if he's got a degree in biology. He's a smart man. He's good at medicine too. So I'm gonna see what he might know when it comes to this. So I'm gonna go ahead and head over to the 19th Street Baptist Church and see if I can't hit up the old man there for a little bit.
Yeah, you make your way over there without incident, and are greeted by the large doors of the church. Simple.
I stop out front and I'm like, good church.
Good church. And the doors are simple, but built quite sturdily. And you grab the handle and open it up, and this time you're greeted by silence. The church is empty, but you do see the Reverend Thompson's door open, and you do feel a sense of peace entering in here. You're back home, and you had such a bad experience earlier in the day. This helps let you ride a little bit. You just feel kind of a sense of calm and peace coming over you, that you're kind of back in a place that you kind of consider home.
Yeah. So I make my way in and I'll knock. Hey Reverend.
He stands up, and he's a large black man, very very solidly built, but he's pretty much all muscle. As opposed to fat. He has trim features and a shaved head, and he stands up. Langston, so good to see you. He comes over and gives you a big hug. What brings you in?
Reverend, I can always use your prayers, but I'm actually here on a little bit of a scavenger hunt. I got me a lost bird that I'm looking for. Got a job. Yeah.
He gestures you to a chair and goes back and sits behind his desk.
So I sit down and now, correct me if I'm wrong, Reverend. You up there in the 372nd, you were as a medic, right?
I was.
Yeah. Look, there's no reason you didn't stop. You didn't continue looking into things, all things medical after you got out of the service. But this young lady I'm looking for, she may have taken ill. May have been, I don't know, poisoned somehow. And
his brow kind of furrows. He starts listening more intently.
Like sit back and when I sit back in the chair, I almost kind of I feel that the muzzle of that gun in my back when the special agent was in my car, and or at least in Adelaide, not my car, but
as you sit back, he kind of leans forward and he puts his forearms on the desk and steeples his fingers together. And he's listening intently.
Look, I don't want to get you in no jackpot that you don't need to be in, but I'm gonna have to tell you the long of it so that I can get the short, if you get my drift.
He nods.
All right. There's a twinge of guilt in me too, because I don't want to involve him too deeply if it's going to get him into trouble. But all right, there's I ain't gonna say where, but I am going to say that this young girl may have been exposed to some level of radioactivity.
His brows kind of rise.
Yeah, she's a hard-working girl. She's doing her part for country, but something she got near gave her a sickness of some sort. She started losing weight, hair started coming out, and there's some materials that were near her that show up as being radioactive, and it's a pretty powerful radioactivity if you know what I mean. I mean, I know I know my chemistry, but it's not just the chemistry I'm after. I'm after what somebody in that position may be looking for by way of help. Medicine, something special that she got to find that maybe only a few places might have. Something might lead me to where she might be.
So that you can find.
Yeah, it's for an old man, another vet like you, lost a leg in the big one. That's my case.
He kind of looks down at his folded hands and says, "I don't know, son. I mean, I can field dress a wound or even pick the bullet out of a man that's been shot. Radiation? I don't know. I mean, I could tell you what the textbooks say, you know, iodine and all those sorts of things, but I would say if this girl is in danger, needs to get to a hospital as soon as possible."
Well,
so that'd be where I'd look.
I was thinking that, but she's there ain't no reason to me think that she's been involved in something, you know, south of legal, but she doesn't have a feeling that she's being followed. I don't know if she would necessarily go to a hospital. She a color girl too, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, you know, street angles, that sort of thing, places where she might get medications that she wouldn't be able to get at a normal pharmacy, that sort of thing. I don't know. Anything like that come to mind?
It's a big city. Rations are tight.
Right.
Young girl, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Color girl.
Yeah. So her options are a little more limited.
You know, girl like that, she's not going to go to the hospital. She's not going to know where to go. You know, she's not going to know what to ask or who to ask. She's not going to feel safe. She's gonna go someplace where she feels safe. If she can't go home, she's gonna go somewhere else that she's been, somewhere where no one's gonna look for her. And she's probably gonna stay there. I don't think she's gonna be on the move. I don't think she's gonna be out hunting for supplies. She'll hunker down.
Yeah. Especially if she's feeling sick like that, she ain't gonna feel like moving too much.
She have any boyfriends, brothers, uncles?
Yeah, she had one. I don't know if necessarily she'd go to him or not, but I guess it might be possible.
She had two.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to bring up the scientist.
Gotcha.
I'm thinking of the Williams kid.
Yeah.
Was it Russell? I think it was.
Russell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you're looking at it the right way, son. I don't see a young colored girl like that who's sick going out looking for a cure. She's not going to go to the hospital.
Right.
She's going to go to people she trusts, or at least places she trusts.
Right.
And she thinks people might be after her, you say?
Yeah, it's possible.
Leans back. Nah, she wouldn't go to people then.
Yeah, she'd
be scared getting them involved. She'd go to some place where she knew she'd be alone.
All right.
Someplace she's been before. Someplace with what she needs, food and water, shelter. She'd be hoping to get better.
My mind kind of goes to that, goes to the picture of the fair where she was with Dr. Adams. Kind of thinking about it. Wonder, is that one of those fairs that's open every day, or is it something that's like only seasonal?
No, it was a seasonal week or couple of week thing. Looks like there was rides and attractions and everything.
Is it a moving fair? Like, it would have moved on, or is it maybe shut down?
Yeah, it would have moved on.
All right. Okay. All right, Reverend. No, you're right. That's kind of the way the Lord works, right? Trying to put you in a place where you can get your mind right. And, you got me thinking now. All right. So I get up and reach out to shake his hand. And
yeah, he shakes your hand and said, I will pray for you. I will pray for wisdom.
Thanks, Reverend. I appreciate it.
And you just keep knocking on the doors, and he'll answer.
Yeah, he will. I know he will. I actually feel very invigorated by that. It's definitely something I needed. Maybe that was the reason I really came here. All right. So I get up and I greet and say thanks and everything, and make my way towards the door to leave. I'm trying to think about things in that book, things that she'd written. And I'm wondering, Russell had a temper, knew that the father wouldn't approve. I open up that picture again with her standing with Russell. Where does it seem like I can tell where that's at?
It's not a place that you recognize. It's kind of a close-up shot of them, and it's just, you can tell that it's a fair because there's a kind of a ticket booth kind of off in the distance, and you figure it probably was a picture taken by a hawker or somebody that comes up and takes your picture and then sells it to you, kind of thing. But it's not something that you immediately recognize.
Okay. All right. I flip through the pages of the diary. Does it give like an address of where Russell lives, or am I grinding my teeth, or do I need to go and pay that pastor another visit?
With some investigation skills, you could probably find out where Russell's holed up.
Okay.
In the meantime, you do feel invigorated. You've been home. You've received some wisdom from somebody you trust.
Right.
So why don't you go ahead and take edge number 2.
Okay. Let's see here. Choose.
and it's not from the choir, but just from the peaceful words of your pastor.
Got it. So, Bible, baby, Bible.
Bible, baby, Bible.
Okay. All right, let's take a look and see what this does here. So your thoughts on God are your own, but damn, that choir, that choir can sing, and your foot was tapping.
In this case, the pastor could speak.
It was the pastor, right? Okay. All right, so that's cool. So discard after 48 hours. So is that 48 hours in game time? Or in game time, I should say?
Yeah,
okay.
in game time.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, then. So I'll pile in the car. What are we looking at as far as time goes now?
It's starting to push 4 o'clock. You're getting along there.
Yeah. All right. I'll start making things sorted out so that I can get in over at this little dinner show.
All right.
See what I can find.
I imagine you probably return home.
Yeah. Get cleaned up.
Yeah, get cleaned up. Change out of your nice suit that you're still wearing from the night before.
Yeah, I did sleep at my cousin's house. That's right.
You managed to run out to the common bathroom, which is empty this time of the day, and get yourself a shower, get cleaned up, and put on your waiter's uniform. Which,
as I'm kind of getting ready and stuff, I'm I don't know, maybe I'm feeling a little edgy or something like that, but I'm kind of like glancing out my window, just trying to see if there's anybody. You know, I'm leaning on my my sensing trouble type thing. I don't know if that would be applicable in this case to try and figure out if I'm being followed or if somebody's waiting for me outside.
Sure. Yeah, you kind of lean your head out the window, kind of subtly, and look both directions, and you see the normal city street, busy going on. You see usual kind of traffic going back and forth, few cars, mostly, full of people, because, anyone that drives alone is helping Hitler.
That's right.
And
man, them posters are scary.
you don't get an immediate sense that anything untoward is going on outside your apartment right at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, take a look at myself in my kind of dusty mirror and take a sigh and all right, time to be invisible. So I go ahead and pile in the car and check the back seat. Actually, I'm gonna I'll bring a change of clothes with me too, just in case.
Okay.
Keep that with me.
Right.
And yeah, head over to the gig, the shindig.
Yeah, you make your way to the Blasco Theater and make it in good time. You show up right when you're supposed to, and you are just invisible. You kind of get mixed in with the other colored staff, and people just kind of start shouting orders and handing you trays and giving you instructions and defining areas to serve and all that kind of stuff. And you're kind of there as the guests start coming in, and they're just dressed to the nines, suits and tuxedos and fancy dresses, all white people.
Right.
And the bartenders start mixing up drinks, martinis for the most part, and little plates of hors d'oeuvres. You haven't had a lot to eat today. It actually looks pretty good. So I'm just wondering how this makes you feel. You're a war hero. Came home injured for your country. You're a scientist.
Yeah.
How's it feel to be dressed up as a waiter, serving a bunch of people who didn't do all those things?
Well, there's two ways to think about it. There's one reason I actually went into service was to, just to protect those that couldn't protect themselves. I mean, this is a threat against all of the world. I mean, it's not just some guy who's stupid beyond belief and can't see past the color of my skin. This is a deep threat. This was something that went beyond color. It went, still is. A lunatic still out there, but I don't know. I see this, the party and the people dressed up, and I don't know. Am I, admire my brothers in arms? Are they here to just protect this? Or are we here to protect the Reverend Thompsons, the Myrnas, heck, even the Special Agent Ellisons? I mean, there ain't no country here, there ain't no FBI, there ain't no nothing of that, so I don't know, it's aggravating. That is. But I have to always know that there's a larger story.
Your temperament, beyond speaking well for you, also is indicated by the selection of problems that you have, and you're able to make your way through kind of the injustice of the situation without it getting under your collar. But you know that there's some men back in your unit that probably would have been drug out of here with some fancy boy's blood on his knuckles, because you hear some fairly disparaging comments as you're going through. You hear one young boy, really, in a tuxedo, rail thin, laughing about how he managed to dodge the draft.
That right there is gonna, yeah.
You hear another one talking about, he's not gonna go get shot up by some new, but then he kind of gets interrupted before he can finish the word. And there's just some pretty despicable people here in the cesspool that is Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
but you do manage to keep that composure about you and continue to go through, and then you start learning some things a little more useful. You hear someone talking about a Colonel Grant and how he plans to cut the budget to the Naval Observatory and shift some money towards something called the WBP or WPB, which you kind of remember in the back of your head. That's the War Production Board. And there's sort of this feeling that, science doesn't really help. What we need is more tanks and more planes going on. That kind of catches your eye since you're employed by the Naval Observatory and a scientist. You hear some other scientists as you're kind of going through and delivering some drinks. They're laughing about the inflatable tanks. They're tricking the Axis, and they're able to go out and totally get their troops out of position just by these inflatable tanks, and they're really quite impressed with themselves. You do hear a couple of MPs. They're kind of walking through, just doing their rounds, and they're talking about a crate of missing weapons that no one knows where they could have gone to.
Rhino.
Knowing that
Rhino.
One is in your in the back of your belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear some talk about Dorothy Lamar, a pinup girl, and that she's going to be around soon. And there's a lot of talk about what she is or preferably is not going to be wearing. You kind of make your way through the evening, and it gets towards the end, and you see an older gentleman who has quite a crowd around him, and he's wearing a white tuxedo, white tie, and a black vest, and he's kind of tell he's had a bit to drink, and he's waving his arms kind of wildly, very expansive gestures, and he just kind of catches your attention. He's kind of making his way through the crowd as if he's heading towards the stairs on the far side of the room, and you hear him saying, "Yeah, they came from Fairfax County in Virginia, out in the field."
They came.
And he managed to get a little bit closer, and he says, "You catch your name," and it's Adams. He says, "Oh no, he's been home for the last couple of days. He's been sick, taking some sabbatical. He's working too hard. That boy, he's working too hard." And you managed to get a little bit closer and says, you hear, well, I don't like to brag myself, but anyone in the group will tell you that really I've done most of the work.
Am I picking up the name of this guy?
he kind of goes on. He's you can tell from your knowledge of psychology that this is someone who has a very high opinion of himself and is very concerned with the reputation that he has.
Yeah.
And then you hear a familiar voice. He kind of turns around to address a white lady, and you recognize Janet from the munitions base, Janet Vinson.
Right.
And she's kind of pressing him a little bit more about what he said about Fairfax. And she's like, Fairfax County, you say? Out in Virginia. They brought them here for study, and Walter was completely out of his depth. He really had no idea what he was doing, to be honest. I mean, he's a clever enough boy in his own way, but completely out of his element. And you can see that Janet is kind of actually working the guy, and she's clearly trying to get some information out of him.
Yeah.
But he's completely oblivious to that, and says, "Well, could it be those rocks that made him sick? Maybe we should go check on him." And there you actually see a little bit of a twitch in the older man's eye, and he's like, "Oh no, that's I'm sure he'll be back in a couple of days. Once it's passed, it's not a big deal. And honestly, most of the work is done anyway. I really should be getting back to my real job here, in a day or two. I would just leave the poor boy alone. Let him rest. Let him rest."
Hmm.
And your assessed honesty tells you that he's not being completely truthful about that.
Yeah.
And they're getting close to the stairs at this point, and you notice a couple of things. You notice she kind of goes to sort of step just in front of him, as if she's talking to him, and it kind of brings him to a halt. And you also notice that he's carrying his coat in his arm, as if he is ready to go. And you see looks like a document holder of some sort, sort of hanging like almost halfway out of his pocket. His coat's just sort of hanging to the side, and the weight of the it's kind of like a large wallet. Is sort of leaning it out, and you look at it, and you're like,
yeah,
you would have a shot at getting it if you went over there and made a filch attempt on it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm thinking. If she's going to be distracting him in that direction, do I get a sense that she's noticed me, or?
You do not get a sense that she's noticed you. She's just questioning this guy and kind of working him over, and she starts to get a little more urgent as he starts to get closer to the stairs. And he's like, "Well, what's so fancy about these rocks anyway? Yeah. Is it something that you can make a little girl like me understand?" He's like, "Oh, well, I could try. I mean, it's very scientific."
Yeah, I'm going in right now.
lots of science.
It's like I'm bringing the tray over.
And kind of smiles. You walk forward with the tray. It's like, it seems to absorb radiation. It has an accelerated half-life. I mean, much less than it should be, and it never cools down. It's a fantastic energy source. And then he kind of leans over, and very, very fissionable. And he kind of smiles, and she gets a concerned look on her face as he's close to her. Like that is
like he's
very concerning to her. But when he leans back, she just has this angelic, stupefied look on her face and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I can manage a plant, but I just can't possibly understand the things at your level." And he kind of smiles. And his attention is pretty much fully on her.
Yeah.
If you did want to make a move on anything.
I do. So I'll do a filch, but I think I might be prepared to use. Let's see what I do. See how I do here. But I'm holding my my Unbreakable Edge card here, where it says you are too focused to be distracted by anything. Spend for an extra die on any test other than stability. So
All
let's see how the first die does. So first die test of the evening. Let's see how we do. Oh, yes. Sorry,
And
breaking character there.
And I actually don't have the right window up. What did you roll?
I rolled a 6.
Oh, you rolled a 6. Nicely done.
Yeah.
All right, that is sufficient for an advance. I should have told you needed a 5+ as an advance.
That's okay. I figured I'd find out afterwards if I needed to spend my card.
Yeah.
So,
And so you had 1 die in filch?
I have 1 die in filch, and then I was prepared to use the
Gotcha.
edge,
All right. Well, you're completely smooth. You walk over there, and you manage to step in between this man who you assume is Boris.
Yeah.
And Janet, with your back to Janet, so she doesn't see your face, and it's like, and he kind of hold out a drink, and he kind of takes a step back because he was admiring the young lady, and says, "Oh," and he takes the drink off the tray, and you're able to kind of bring the tray kind of close to his head, and he kind of takes a step back, and at the same time you reach into his coat pocket that's hanging there loosely and grab the book out, and he kind of just shakes his head and looks annoyed at you, and then looks back at her and says, "Well, I really should be going. I've had a late night, and I need to wrap some things up tomorrow before I head for home." He grabs her hand, and you've been a just adorable companion. And he kisses her hand, and she just kind of giggles demurely. And he heads up the stairs, and she just sort of smiles at him with sort of a dumb bovine expression on her face. And then as soon as he rounds the corner up the stairs, she gets a disgusted look on her face, turns and spits over in the corner, and turns around and walks out.
At a party, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, no, that's good. Then I have another person on the inside who's willing to ask the questions, or at least take a run at it. So, all right. Okay, so Adams is sick, and I've got this thing, like it's like burning a hole in my pocket inside my coat. So I think unless I notice any other conversations or something else that's going on, then I'm probably going to try and make my way out. And in fact, if I can, I want to see if I can't catch up with this Boris on the other side. So I think I may be trying to use my stealth or shadowing. I don't know probably shadowing would be the best if I can do it.
Okay. You do kind of slowly make your way out. It's not nearly as quickly as you would like, because people are continually wanting drinks and shouting orders at you and stuff, and you just sort of have to, not look like you're rushing out.
Right.
Unless you want to completely blow that cover.
No, I'm gonna, because that'll get me in more trouble than it's worth. So maybe
it slows you down enough that by the time you get out of the surface entrance and go around, you spend some time looking around, but there's no sign of the guy.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll make my way out. Find a place where I've stowed my clothes and switch out of the waiter's uniform, like maybe in a bathroom or something like that. Or
okay. Yeah, you can certainly do that. It's also, by this point, it's getting very, very late. You've been there. It's coming up on a 10:30 or so.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'll actually, you know what? I'm gonna find an underpass somewhere where I can, be out of the way. Because I need to make a decision on whether or not I'm going to try and make a run at the warehouse or the plant tonight. So I'm going to take a look at the documentation and see what I got.
Okay. You open it up, and it's a bunch of travel papers, passports in there, all that kind of stuff. He has a picture of himself, kind of a nice respectable dust jacket sort of picture. You wonder what that's for.
On the back of it, is there anything on the back of the picture?
No. It's a picture of himself. I guess he likes to look at himself.
He thinks he's going to be in some kind of magazine or something like that.
But really what catches your eye is that there are some access papers for Navy Munitions Plant Echo entitling the bearer to come and go any hour of the day or night until they expire, which they don't expire for another week.
Is there a name on it?
There is, but it's kind of written cursively. So it definitely says Boris Podolsky, but it would not be a great feat to, especially going at night, to think that they probably don't look that close. Or they could be used as a forgery if you wanted to spend quite a bit more time at it.
Yeah. That's not really my... I don't know if that's really my thing. Forgery.
No, that would be a scout thing.
Man, but... So I'm trying to think back at what he was saying about the rock, that the rock absorbs radiation and that it stays cool afterwards.
It never stops getting hot.
Or I'm sorry, that's right.
It's always hot. Yeah.
It's always hot. Yeah. That's just... Okay. So... I'm looking at these papers like, man, I could go straight back there now. And by now, the guards probably would have changed shift, so it won't be the same guards that were up there this morning. So there's a chance they wouldn't recognize me, but it just looks so strange for somebody to come in there, especially me. Unless I just act the part. Man. Alright. I think what I'll do is I think I'm gonna go for it. Because, I mean, I feel like there's a timetable, you know, that this poor Lynette, I mean, I don't know how many hours she's got left. I don't know what kind of illness she's got, if it's because of these rocks, that sort of thing. The other thing, though, is there's this Adams. I lean back and I wonder... Can I go find a phone somewhere?
Yeah, there's one back at your apartment building.
I think I want to try and find one. I guess, yeah, I can head that way if it ends up being that I can't go anywhere right now. But I'm wondering if I should maybe pay Dr. Adams a visit. If he's sick, he might be at his home. If Boris was telling the truth. Shoot. I'm really stuck. Of like which way to go. Like the part of me that like just wants to like find Lynette and just go to that next stage is it's getting into that warehouse or that munitions plant. Okay. I go in there, I run into trouble, I know a way out. I can go out through the drainage. So at least I have another avenue of exit. Yeah. Yeah, I make up my mind. I'm going to go back to the munitions plant.
Okay. You get in your car and you manage to drive over there without any incident. You definitely can tell driving up that security is much more lax at night. You come up and there's only a private and one other soldier out front, and he's kind of a short, freckle-faced redhead, ginger, and you can see a little name tag says Elliot, and he says, "Yeah, state your business."
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here to visit.
And
Come on, Private, fast. I need you to read this.
You hand him the papers.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The camera.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Well, Private, please. I'm on a bit of a timetable, please, sir.
He takes a look at it and says, "Consultant, huh?
That would be me.
How long do you expect to stay?"
Oh, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Call it an hour.
He kind of jots it down on a clipboard, and he sort of goes through your paper, and you can just tell that there's one seal that he's looking at. And as soon as he sees that, he folds it back up again, hands it back to you, and it kind of waits for the gate to be open, and then kind of walks away.
All right.
And you hear the gate close behind you.
Like, dang it. It sounds like a jail cell closing up, because that's where I'm gonna go if I get caught. So so I'm gonna go ahead and make my way in. I'm kind of leaning on what Myrna gave me as far as the plans go, of like what the layout is of the place, to hopefully make my way straight to this basement area. I don't really want to mess around too much with anything else.
Yeah, the information that she gave you was very handy, because the side doors and everything are all locked up. The main double doors you went through before are locked up, but you know from the plans that there's an employee entrance off to the side, and you only have to wait like maybe 10 minutes or so before a couple ladies come out, and they're just chatting back and forth about their day at work, and they politely hold the door open for you as you walk through.
Thank you, ma'am.
And they kind of check you out as you go through the door. But you keep your mind on business for once.
Ma'am.
And you hear them giggling as they walk away.
Don't get me in trouble, sir. Don't you do it.
You're inside the building, and you make your way along the floor. That's all quiet now, and the information that she gave you about where the guard stations are and kind of where the patrols are likely was just spot on. You're able to just kind of look confident and walk for the most part, but then you have enough sense of timing to just sort of hide out to the side and wait for a patrol to go by, and then you're able to avoid them entirely without getting into a hassle. As you approach the door to the stairs, there are a pair of stationary guards at the door.
Okay.
And they sort of look up as you approach, and they kind of we're just chatting with each other, but now they're kind of standing at parade rest and waiting for you to get up to them.
Okay. And I'll make my way up and hand them the papers.
And they open it up, and they turn to the same page as the private did out front, and they note a stamp, and then they turn it over and look at a different stamp, and then they close it up, and they hand it back to you, and they politely stand aside and open the door.
Gentlemen.
Kind of nod.
So I'll head on through. Again, that sinking feeling in my stomach.
And now you make your way down a dark set of stairs. They're metallic stairs, very industrial, with metal handrails and mesh stairs as you go down. They're quite steep, and
oh man, that's giving my hips some trouble, I bet.
Yeah, your lower wound does not like it a lot, and the lights are probably spaced a little too far out and a little too dim. So there's kind of some shadow areas between the flights of stairs as you go down, and it's just dead quiet. I mean, there's just nothing making noise down there.
Is there a chance I might be able to have like a flashlight on my person, my gear? I'm kind of thinking of my preparedness option.
Yeah, at this point you don't really feel that you need it. It's bright enough to illuminate the area. You're not stumbling through the darkness or anything. Okay. It's just a little dusky, or a little dark. and it just sort of sets your nerves on edge a little bit to
Sure.
not have a clear field of vision.
All right.
And finally, you get down at the bottom, and there's a large metal door, just with a placard on it that says "Lab."
Any other doors, or is this just kind of like
It just leads down to this building.
my destination?
Yeah, and it's cooler down here too. It's you can tell that you're underground, and seems to be sucking the heat out of the air a bit.
Okay.
Feels good. It's been hot.
I'll like touch the door a little bit. I'm thinking about the heat, right? He was talking about the hot rocks.
The door is cool to the touch.
All right. I'll put my ear to the door just to kind of see if I can hear anybody on the other side.
It's a pretty solid door. You can't hear much on the other side.
All right. I'll go ahead and make my way in. I'll try and go in as quiet as I can. Hoping that I don't like just fling the door open. Ta-da! So yeah. So I don't know if I need to use some stealth in this case, or hopefully be able to send some trouble before it happens.
Yeah, you try to open the door and you slip through and you kind of close it, carefully, so the latch doesn't click too much. And this room is also fairly dimly illuminated, and it definitely is a little warmer in here. And it's a laboratory, but it's unlike any laboratory that you've ever seen before. There's a series of desks kind of around the perimeter of a large square room with papers and waste baskets and remains of food cartons and that sort of thing. But in the center of the room is dominated by a massive glass cage. It's like a giant cube with some oddly iridescent glass, and the inside of the cave is subdivided into 4 smaller cubes, and you can kind of see through the glass that inside each one of them is it's really a mini laboratory. Each one has an identical set of equipment for chemistry and radiation and just all manner of spectrographs, just all manner of equipment inside of these subdivided cubes.
So these cubes are big enough to kind of like people can walk in, or somebody can walk in.
A couple people could fit into each one, yeah.
That's right. All right.
But it's all made out of glass.
Like, does it feel like normal glass, like if I tap it?
No. As soon as you touch it, you know that something's wrong. It looks like it was once just a lead-lined glass to build the cage, and this is fairly common to house like radioactive materials. So that's not what's unusual. What's unusual is it's been altered somehow. As you look at it, the glass has 3 layers, and the outer layer you recognize as lead-lined glass. But the center pane, like a storm window, but the middle pane is just, you swear it's moving. It's just constantly altering the polarization of the glass, and it's making kind of odd hues. It's almost moving back and forth like mercury would or something like that, but it's apparently solid. Okay. It's one of the strangest things you've ever seen in your life.
All right, that ain't normal. All right. Is there like desks or some kind of like I don't know, counter or something where maybe they might be storing like documentation? That you said there were desks with papers, that sort of thing. I'm trying. Yeah, like, my mind is kind of like fumbling a bit right now.
Yeah, you go through it, and you don't see anything that you would consider terribly helpful. It's more of, you see notes and numbers and people kind of doing equations, but without any context. It's really difficult to know what they're about. You see requisition orders and purchase orders and those sort of things.
What are some of the things they were requesting?
Generally scientific parts and equipment. So things that you would find normal for a laboratory. You don't see anything terribly unusual in what they've left out anyway.
Like I go back, I've kind of like put a few feet of distance between me and this weird glass, and like inside these cubes, I mean, they mentioned rocks. I mean, are the rocks inside there?
They could be. Each cube does have a door that you can walk into, assuming that it's not locked. But
So I mean, I can't see inside. It's just I see the 3 cubes, and those are.
No, you can see inside. You can see the equipment that they have inside there. So each sub cube is a little mini laboratory on its own.
I see. All right. Just want to make sure.
Yeah. And whatever this glass is, you've spent some time reading about quantum mechanics and that new field. You would guess is something like this, but whoever did it is just an absolute genius. But you also notice that in the 4th cube, there's a bullet hole.
Wow. Okay. All right.
And from your knowledge of physics that whoever designed this setup may have been a genius, but it's all for nothing if there's a bullet hole in it.
That is not good. It's not good. Yeah, I'm starting to worry a little bit about whatever kind of poison or whatever might be out in this room now. Does it look like it was shot in or shot outward?
You kind of kneel down and take a look at it. Looks like it was shot in from the outside.
Okay. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. All right. I gotta take a step back. All right. I'll give another quick perusal of this place. I mean, my brain is like saying I need to get out of here, but there's, I don't know if I want to. Is there like outfits or like do you like them like suits or something like that? I don't know if in this time, outside again, I'm not sure if at this time there's like suits like that, but
yeah, you don't notice any kind of particular protective clothing. If they have any, it's not in here. Beyond just some standard gloves. And
I don't know why I didn't think of this already, but I pull out my Geiger counter.
And it's going wild.
Oh, shit. All right. Yeah.
It's jumping back and forth, and you kind of watch it. It's pointing right at the glass cage, and then you're pretty sure it got overloaded because it just finally falls silent.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. All right, Langston, you've done a good job now. You've probably killed yourself doing this. Okay. Probably already taken too much of a dose at this point. I look back at the lab door, and it ain't gonna be no good if I die before I try and find Lynette. What are these people up to? What are they up to?
In order to tell you, you'd have to go inside.
Yeah. Before I knew it, I'm asking myself this question, and my hand's on the doorknob, or the little latch or whatever for the door. All right. I set the Geiger counter down, and is the door unlocked?
Yes.
All right. I glance around, just kind of make sure nobody else is here, just to be sure.
Still no one there.
All right. I'll I kind of unnatural. I just kind of go like this.
Science.
And my brain knows it's absolutely worthless, but my subconscious is like. So yeah, I open it, and I actually reach down and I grab the Geiger counter and I place it into the door the inside portion of the door so that it won't it'll stay open.
Okay.
So it won't close behind me. I start looking around inside, see if I can find anything.
Okay. You go in and you look around on the desk, and you do find quite a few things. You find some much more interesting paperwork. You see some mathematical equations and some notes written in a foreign language. You're pretty sure it's Russian.
I grab those and I stuff them in my pocket.
Yeah, and you know enough just from your experience with languages and scientific notation that you can tell that they are referring to a explosive property compared to uranium-235, which is a bomb-grade uranium. And if these figures are correct, then the material would create quite a potent nuclear weapon. The other thing that really catches your eye is a little petri dish, and sitting in the center of it is a small, colorful globule of rock that's just sitting there. And next to it are some beakers made out of that same lead-lined glass. And then the last thing you notice as you kind of round around the desk to kind of get a look at the rock is that the floor seems really dirty. And you kind of stoop down to take a look at it, and there's just this pile of greasy ash on the floor, kind of sprawled out. But there seems to be a pretty large quantity of it. And it looks like you're not sure what it is. It doesn't show any sign of being carbonized or something was burned. It's just something just kind of fell apart.
Oh, yeah. Are there any like sample case things, like other petri dishes available, like empty ones?
Yeah, there's other dishes and stuff around, but they're just sort of for holding things under the microscope and whatnot. The lead-lined beakers are the protective material.
Okay. I can't bring this stuff out of here because who knows what kind of nonsense that is. I don't know, grab I don't know if there's like a little probe thing or something like that I can use to sift through this greasy ash. See if I can figure out what it might be.
Yeah, it's pretty thick. There's quite a lot of it, but it's completely uniform. I mean, there's no chunks or anything else underneath it to show what it might have been. It's just a huge pile of oily, just nasty looking ash.
All right. Okay. Is there any devices in here, like laboratory equipment, to like kind of analyze things?
Yeah, there is.
I don't know how much time I got. I don't know, it might be a waste of time, but
yeah, you could do it here, or you could take some with you.
Yeah, I might take some with me. Maybe. I don't know how much longer I have here. I'm gonna sit here and do experiments while I'm breaking into a lab.
Yeah, you told them half an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see if I can find a vessel or something that I can put some of this ash in to take with me.
Yeah, you can throw some in a glass beaker.
I'm not going anywhere near that rock. I'm not touching that because that might be this thing they found in Fairfax. I mean, does it? I stop myself and I turn around. I mean, does it feel warm, like at a distance? Like, can I feel heat coming from it?
You're not sure if it's your imagination or not at this distance, but you do think you feel a little bit of heat coming off it.
Oh, man.
You want to probe it with your stick?
No. No, not really, no. Because I have an inkling of what this ash might be, but I don't want it to be that. So I'll just have to wait and see. No, and I don't, but I'll kind of like back my way out and take the Geiger counter doorstop out. And
when you step out of the room and the door closes behind you, you hear a click, but the click comes from under your foot. And you just kind of instinctively freeze. And you look down and you see that you're standing on some sort of pressure plate.
Langston, you idiot.
You're not sure if it's anything or not, but you've seen stuff like this in the war, and it's almost invariably some sort of booby trap.
Okay.
You're not as fast as you used to be,
Definitely not.
but you do have a fair amount of experience with mechanical devices.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. All right. Okay. I look down and try and think of like some way that I can maybe wedge the plate. Is there like a depression point, like where I could wedge something under the plate and have enough time to jump out of the way? Or
you could try to rig something like that. You could try to you kind of look down, and it's a plate hooked to a trigger that you can kind of see, and it's not terribly dissimilar to the kinds that are used in some types of car bombs. In fact, you actually disarmed one once for Wild Bill.
okay.
And so you're familiar with the technology. You could try to disarm it, or you could try to slow it down by just disabling it, so you have enough time to kind of make a run for it.
I glance up and I think about those notes in my pocket, and I think about that rock that's on the table, and I'm wondering that if a bomb goes off, I mean, is this thing gonna be a lot bigger than a regular bomb, or what? I figure I better disarm it, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to get out of the way in time.
Okay, that would be a devices check. You'd be looking at a 9+ for an advance, or a 4 for a hold.
So you mentioned that there was some form of a typo in here where it didn't show a devices skill on the character sheet.
I think so, yeah.
So what am I?
So you should have two dice in devices.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll both of those.
Just roll them one at a time. Well, I guess in this case,
that's right. That's true. I'll do one. Let's see how we do. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and roll that second one.
All right.
Because that was a 1. Here we go. And then I'm gonna hold out the possibility of using Unbreakable in this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to use mine and my edge cards to So that's a total of 3 now.
Okay. Still a setback.
Oh. Hang on.
And what does Unbreakable give you?
Well, there's the option that I can pray to the Lord and use my most recent edge, which says spend to treat a setback as an advance.
That'd work.
I think I will do that.
Right.
I would rather, because I've only rolled a 3. If I rolled a 1 again, which seems quite possible at this rate. Yeah, I'm going to use Bible Baby Bible.
Bible Baby Bible.
I'm going to turn this into an advance.
All right, so you are standing there on this pressure plate, and you're reaching back, trying to get a hold of the trigger mechanism, and it just slips out of your finger and slips out of your finger, and then you just hear suddenly the trigger mechanism just snaps, and you're just waiting for the explosion that's going to blow your leg off or worse,
And I think actually this might be a good place to stop.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, hate to do this to you kids, but let's leave this on a cliffhanger here. Now, we do know that it made an advance, but what sort of advance, we're not quite sure. But let's put this one to bed, shall we? As Langston seeks to potentially change his drawers, and the player will also. Wow, I wasn't really expecting the tension to mount that quickly, but then again, I did just go into the lab straight away. Wow, nice storytelling, my friend. That was pretty good. Well. It was pretty good. Well, with the last episode, like we said, we have about a week in between, so I think we'll probably follow suit with this as well. But stay tuned to see if Langston survives his little adventure into the lab. Once again, Brent, thanks so much for game mastering.
Oh, absolutely, thank you.
I appreciate it. This is a lot of fun. I'm having a very good time with this.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, guys. Well, folks, I hope everybody's having fun at home. Let us know if you have any questions or anything. Find out more about us at InnRoadsMinistries.com. But special thanks to Pelgrane Press and all the folks who went into building this wonderful 1-to-1 RPG system based on the Gumshoe system for Cthulhu Confidential. But until next time, we will see you then.
Bye-bye.